Yep, it's one of those films. It's the classic student film where you open on a clock and just go from there. You see, that's exactly how bad I procrastinated on this thing. That doesn't mean I'm gonna have all sorts of cool angles. And you may think, how on earth is this guy gonna get a bunch of angles in a dorm room? Well, it beats me, but I think I've got a couple ideas that might look cool and get some sort of points on this assignment. Now listen, I'm essentially treating this as a documentary, as a narrative, whatever you want to call it, but I'm just going to clip farm in my dorm room for a bit while I tell you about how bad of a procrastinator I am. I don't want your pity, I don't want anything. All I want is for you to understand my struggle. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Gavin, why didn't you just shoot this some other weekend? Isn't that kind of just what the project was meant to be, is planned out way in advance? That would have been nice. However, I am a chronic overbooker, as a lot of you can probably attest to, and I booked myself out every weekend and every day, except this one, which was not a good idea. But listen, man, I'm a gaffer, bro. I don't know how to really make good shots. I mean, I'm laying on my bed in front of a Weezer poster. Does that look like a good shot to you? Probably not. But you know what? We're gonna do our best. For instance, alright, we all know the famous looking into the fridge shot, right? Where I look into the fridge and then it's gonna do a reverse of me. Surely you're thinking, no, he's not stooping that low, is he? He's not fishing for shots that much. I think you severely underestimate the integrity that I am willing to breach for this project. Yep, no integrity as you can see. Welcome to the inside of my fridge. Yep, I'm that cooked. Alright, for the next bit of this documentary slash narrative slash whatever you want to call it, I'm going to take you around campus and show you the other reasons why I didn't film something. Because you're probably thinking, oh, all your weekends were booked up? Why didn't you just film it on some random weeknight? Well, because yours truly is horrific at schedule planning. Let's take a look at where I went when I was not filming this project like I should have been.
Now, another thing you may be thinking is, why didn't you just check out lights? I mean, clearly you got a camera, so why didn't you just check out lights? That was the plan, until I discovered that CMA has put out a new rule recently, that you have to get the permits for the buildings you're shooting in before you do the green lights, which I did not know was a thing. So I was not able to get lights. In fact, I'm borrowing this camera from my friend Nayla, who I did a shoot for yesterday, and just happened to have a camera that she was very willing to lend me, which I'm very happy about. Also, the exposure is all kinds of off in this shot. Man, I gotta fix this, John. Now, the big question is my film going to meet the requirements of time as established by this assignment? Probably not, but you know what? I think I've really learned something, which is that the real time limit were the shots we took along the way. The mediocre shots that I took along my way across campus. You know, here's the kind of funny thing. It's what I am now. I've just been kind of going around getting a bunch of clips for this so-called documentary, right? But here's the funny thing, is I've kind of been able to get some cool stuff out of this. I've been able to learn a little bit about my shooting style, even if it's not very good, because I've shot 3 things in my life ever. But like, it's a nice foggy night, you know, and I'm just kind of out adventuring, taking pictures of stuff. I don't know if it's particularly good. I'll probably wake up the next morning and say it's terrible, but you know, I'm looking through stuff and being like, man, I have a voice, you know? I have some sort of artistic inspiration. Maybe my artistic inspiration is that I put literally every subject on one side of frame and then just call it a day. I think I've done like 85 of those shots just in this film, but it's been kind of cool just looking at the stuff I've made, and even if it was phoned in at the last second, something good came out of it, you know? This started as a very ironic sort of project where I'm just making fun of myself for kind of being an idiot, but I've got some cool stuff out of it. This actually has been a really beneficial project, you know? I kind of realized, like, I don't think I've taken any time to explore what I actually like in a shot. I think I've been so busy always thinking about, like, what does the director want, what does the DP want, stuff like that, that I don't even think I've really had time to ever explore what my own vision really is, which is why some of these shots are all so basic and I don't really know how to direct them. But something good really has come out of this whole project, you know? I think I've really learned that I do have tendencies that I go for in shots, and like I was saying earlier, maybe they're a little bit inexperienced looking, but I think there's a vision to explore further that maybe I need to look into. Because I've always been the type of filmmaker that's like, let's just go shoot a quick comedy sort of thing, and because that's my jam. That's my jam. I make comedies, right? But maybe it's time to push the boundaries a little bit. Maybe it's time to look into other things and just look at what I like in a setting where I'm in control, where I have to make some of those decisions rather than just asking the DP or asking the director or whatever it is. This has been a weirdly eye-opening experience for me. Just going around and shooting whatever. I was really stressed about this project. I thought it was going to turn out like crap and just be some sort of stupid phoned-in project, but it's become more than that. So I'm glad I made it.